So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? I was the one that performs for him.
DL Hughley has been outspoken in his criticism of public figures, especially black celebrities who align with controversial political figures. Recently, he set his sights on Snoop Dogg, the legendary rapper and media mogul. In a highly publicized exchange, Hughley called out Snoop for what he saw as hypocrisy after the rapper performed at an event for former President Donald Trump. This sparked intense debate on social media, with both fans and critics analyzing Snoop's decision. Many questioned his alignment with Trump, particularly after previously condemning others for similar actions. The controversy fueled discussions on celebrity influence, political affiliations, and public accountability.
That was LL Cool J, Around the Way Girl. I was reading a news article that was talking about how a weatherman got fired in, I think, Indiana for saying that Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. I've noticed that the ADL came out and they said, well, it wasn't a Nazi salute, and I challenged it. And I said earlier this week, if you did that anywhere, if you did that in Russia, if you did that in Germany, if you did that in Austria, you go to jail. We all know what it is. But since there are people now who control almost every aspect of the information we get, that man told the truth on his news station and lost his job. There are people now. There's a reason why powerful people control media. They control the message. Now it's just not media in at large. It is social media too. There's a reason why TikTok was banned, and now it's going to be bought by, it can potentially bought by Elon Musk or somebody else of that ilk. There's an attempt to control the truth and how we see it. The truth of the matter is that Donald Trump is a convicted felon who pardoned other convicted felons. That is the truth. The truth is that Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. That is the truth. And no matter, but it's an interesting thing because now we're in conflict with the truth. And it's so Orwellian that I felt compelled to read you some of his quotes from the book 1984. He says that if all others accepted the lie which the party imposed, if all records told the same tale, then the lie passed into history and it became the truth. He who controls the past controls the future. In times of universal deceit, telling the truth will become a revolutionary act. Just saying what you saw is an act of revolution. However much you deny the truth goes on existing as it were, even if it's behind your back. The ministry of truth with lies, the ministry of love with torture, and the ministry of plenty with starvation. That is where we are right now. That 1984, George Orwell's idea of 1984 is Trump 2025. That is a little note from the GED section. Got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.
The situation is complex, shaped by a history of comments, contradictions, and the larger-than-life personalities of Snoop Dogg and DL Hughley. However, it also raises a crucial question. Is this just business, or does it reflect deeper issues of loyalty, authenticity, and political alignment in the entertainment industry?
So, of course, it was the 20th, happened yesterday. It was Martin Luther King's birthday and also the swearing in of the 47th president of the United States of America. And already the contortions to explain what we have seen are happening. We watched Elon Musk throw up twice what was a Nazi symbol. Twice. And you had the ADL come out and say no, that they come out and defended it and poo-pooed and said it wasn't so. I tell you what, I will say this. It's interesting that a couple of months ago, if you said something, the very organization or one of the organizations, if you said something, anything positive, you could say Palestinians deserve the right to exist, and you were yelled down as an anti-Semite. But a man demonstrated a move twice that was clearly a Nazi. I tell you what, if Elon Musk did that in Germany, he'd have went to jail. If he did it in Austria, he'd have went to jail. If you do that at your job, you lose. And the only place you can make a Nazi salute and keep your job is the White House. But I'm watching people contort. Like I heard somebody say, well, I don't know why people are mad at entertainers. They're not mad at Biden and Obama. Biden and Obama swore an oath for the presidency of the United States. And that is to comport yourself in a way that uplifts the office, whether you like who's inheriting it or not. The only person who hasn't lived up to that oath is Trump. So you can say, well, you're not mad at them. That's like if you own a McDonald's, you can't change the recipe because you ain't happy with them. It's a franchise. It is what it is.
Let's dive into this saga, exploring what led to DL Hughley's accusations, the controversies surrounding Snoop Dogg's ties to Trump, and the broader impact on both the hip-hop community and the Black community as a whole.
Sign on for this job, and that job entails you doing things you don't like, going to funerals, shaking hands, being cordial, and having a peaceful transfer of power. The only one who hasn't done it is Trump, and now he's the metric we set it by. That is called, they took a oath, and they lived up to their duties. They lived up to their oaths. And when it comes to what Snoop and Nelly and Rick Ross and Soulja Boy, they are entertainers. They can do what they want. I understand that. But you can't get mad at backlash. Stop conflating them with Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and the wealthiest people in the world. Well, they did that. Those wealthy men, those wealthy white men, they bought in. You can't say they sold out. They bought in. They're going to get a direct benefit from their association with Trump. And they don't need anybody else. I don't know that Snoop or Nelly or Rick Ross or Soulja Boy can say that same thing. And stop telling me, well, they can do what they want. If MAGA can get upset, MAGA got so upset about people that it thought betrayed them, they wanted to kill them on 4 years ago. They stormed the Capitol to kill them. Hang Mike Pence. Hang Mike Pence. You remember that? I mean, that probably won't go in history books now, but that was a real thing. MAGA got upset with Liz Cheney. MAGA got upset with anybody who they thought betrayed them. And the betrayal could be just living up to your oath. So if people...
In the mid-2010s, tensions between Black artists and Donald Trump reached a peak, especially as he launched his presidential campaign. Snoop Dogg, the rapper turned entrepreneur, was a vocal critic, frequently condemning Trump's policies and public statements. However, the controversy escalated in 2017 when several artists faced backlash for performing at Trump's inauguration. Many viewed their participation as a betrayal, aligning with a leader whose rhetoric alienated Black communities, immigrants, and other marginalized groups. This moment further deepened the divide between Trump and the hip-hop world.
And if that's because they thought you were one of them and you turned out to do something that there was an anathema to them. Black people can feel the same way. They can feel the same way. You are entitled to do whatever you want to do beyond recrimination. But I do think it's interesting that there were more Black people genuflecting and rapping in front of him and performing for him than he will ever put in front of their cabinet. He'll never put them in the cabinet. And you ever notice you never hear them yell DEI when a Black person is rapping, singing, dancing, jumping, or running, because that's our province. They only say DEI when you encroach where white men should go. They only say DEI when you do something they think only they have the right to do. So it's never DEI when you're doing what you're supposed to do. When you're DJing and being Snoop and DJing a party, they ain't gonna get mad. That's what you're supposed to do. Try to lead, then it's DEI. Try to be a doctor or an airplane pilot, or try to be a president, or try to be a senator. Hear the calls of DEI. But not when you DJ and rap and dance and run. That's what they expect you to do. There were more Black people who performed from him and genuflected in front of him yesterday than will ever be in his cabinet in any significant position. Even all the Black people who calling him daddy now didn't get a cabinet. They didn't even get the secretary position of secretaries. So let's be clear. We are a tribal nation. They want people who they find a kinship with to be loyal, and they get to decide what the parameters of that loyalty is. You can't bite the hand that feeds you and then get mad that they're angry. You can't say, I'm going to do something that the people who supported me for a long time don't like and then have a residency in Vegas. You can't do that and have an album. You can't do that and have a party or concert. I tell you what, here's the way I'll leave it. If MAGA can get mad at the people they thought were disloyal, surely niggas have the right to get mad at the people they think are disloyal. That's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the DL Hughley Show.
In 2017, Snoop Dogg publicly criticized Black artists who performed at Trump's inauguration, mocking them in a video where he called them Uncle Tom ninjas. His words were sharp and unapologetic, reinforcing the belief that supporting Trump was a betrayal of the very community that had uplifted them. His stance left little room for compromise.
That was Donnell Jones, you know what's up. So, of course, Snoop has responded to the backlash he received for performing for a Trump event. One of the things he pointed out was that we always stick together. We're good at tearing each other apart, which is pretty constant. It's pretty consistent when somebody gets into trouble. It takes backlash from the community. It's always a communal thing. It isn't any action they took. It is the fact that we can't stay together, that we can't stick together, that it's us always attacking us. But that flies in the face of the reality of what's happening right now. It is not us who are tearing down affirmative action. It is not us who is tearing down DEI. It is not us who are tearing families apart. It is not us who have decided that affirmative action and rollbacks that have been that had precedent for 50, 60 years are gone. It is not us that is doing that. It is the man you decided to perform for. It is not us who ridiculed you. It was Elon Musk who showed your clip from 2017 and another from 2025 and said the vibe shift is real. It wasn't us that did that. It is. I think most people are disappointed because they saw you a specific way, and you have a right to kind of interpret and do whatever artistically you want to. No one's begrudging you that. But why the attack on the community because they disagree with something you did? You performed for a guy they knew would do what he's doing. But it's us that have the problem. It's us that are wrong. It is us that can't.
At the time, Snoop positioned himself as a fierce Trump critic, standing with black artists who refused to perform for a man accused of fueling racial tensions, disparaging black leaders, and actively undermining civil rights progress.
92% of black women voted against this man. 86% of black men voted for him. Almost 90% of black people in general voted against him. We stuck together. We decided that this was a man who was bad for our community. We stuck together. We didn't try to tear each other apart. We tried to protect each other. And the very man who knew would do the very things he's doing, you decided to entertain. It isn't anger or hate. It is honestly people being disappointed. But why is the most common refrain whenever somebody gets to a situation like that, you tell us we can't stick together? We've shown you we have. We've shown you we did. We voted in more specific numbers than any other demographic in the nation. We did stick together. And if you're so angry about the backlash you're getting, you need to talk to the 2017 version of you. The 2017 that was said that you would ride out anybody that performed for him. Anybody. And you use very colorful language. So it isn't us that you have a problem with. It is you. The 2025 version of you is at odds with the 2017 version of you. So it ain't the us that got to get together. It's you. You need to have a conversation with the man in the mirror. What is so different about the 2017 Snoop and the 2025 Snoop? It ain't us. We ain't in it. This is an inner turmoil. You don't need to look at the community.
Fast forward a few years, and Snoop Dogg is now performing at a Trump event, a complete 180-degree grind from his earlier stance. The rapper who once mocked others for working with the former president is now on stage for the same man he criticized. This apparent contradiction didn't go unnoticed, and it was DL Hughley who publicly called him out, sparking debate over Snoop's changing position and its implications.
Now, of course, Trump is saying that Kamala isn't black. I guarantee you this, Kamala's been black a lot longer than Trump's been a Republican. Of course, Kamala's getting broad support. They got black men for Kamala, white men for Kamala, Latinos and Asians for Kamala. They even have Republicans for Kamala. Republicans for Kamala. I guess Donald Trump will finally know what it's like when you get left for a younger woman.
Hughley's criticism wasn't just about Snoop. He used the moment to challenge the broader trend of celebrities aligning with political figures, especially those who have made disparaging remarks about black people. He highlighted the contradiction of Trump hosting rappers and entertainers while still promoting white supremacy, a message Hughley had emphasized for years. The media mogul made it clear that performing for the office wasn't a strong enough justification for working with someone who had been divisive and harmful to the black community. His remarks reignited discussions about celebrity influence, integrity, and political responsibility.
You post this on your Instagram. Trump has said that he has done more for black people than Lincoln.
I think that, and our people are entitled to their own. People forget how bad it was under him.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah.
They forget it. They forget that, gas was lower because nobody was using it. Or stuff was lower because nobody could go anywhere. Or I got $1,200 because I'll never forget that the ultimate test of leadership is when something bad happens, how you deal with it.
Yeah.
When COVID happened, you said it didn't exist.
Yep.
And that sunshine and bleach could kill it.
Right.
That tells you that when shit goes wrong, that'll never go away. The reason he didn't get elected to a second term.
For Hughley, this was a matter of principle. He argued that if Donald Trump truly cared about Black people, he wouldn't have engaged in birtherism or perpetuated racist tropes. Instead, Hughley emphasized that Trump was using Black entertainers as pawns to boost his image, a tactic repeatedly employed in politics. The notion that Trump could sway Black voters by showcasing a few familiar faces was something Hughley had long criticized. Now, with Snoop's involvement, he wasn't about to let it slide, reigniting conversations about authenticity, political strategy, and celebrity influence.
Is because he mishandled the biggest crisis, medical crisis or pandemic in the last 100 years. He pretended like he didn't exist. He fragmented the country. There are people Herman Cain is dead because he believed him.
That is an absolute fact.
So you can say
Herman Cain had a tweet saying that, I'm going to this event and screw these masks. I will not be told what to do, only to catch COVID and die.
And die. And they kept it. So your test of leadership, you failed. You can tell me about the economy. Inflation is high. Inflation is high. They act like it's an American phenomenon. Yeah, it's high throughout the entirety of the world.
Correct.
And ours is the lowest.
Yeah.
You created $5 million. He created 14 million jobs. You created. You say that. It was better on him. Then you're forgetting how shitty. I remember driving around and having to show people that I could be out at night.
Yeah.
Because how bad COVID was.
And you caught COVID. I remember the whole situation of you collapsing on stage.
So
it was a mess. And to think that these billions of dollars in aid was going to be spent and telling people they didn't have to pay rent for years was not going to catch up.
When news broke that Snoop Dogg, along with rappers like Nelly and Rick Ross, had performed at a Trump event, the backlash was swift and intense. Social media erupted with criticism, calling out the hypocrisy and questioning their sincerity. For many fans, Snoop's participation felt like a betrayal, especially given his history of speaking out against societal injustices and advocating for the disenfranchised. His decision left many wondering where his true loyalties lay.
To the country is insane.
To the world.
To the world. But specifically in the country is insane.
We have look, if you think inflation's bad here, go to Europe.
Yeah. Go to Ecuador. It's like 70% inflation.
This is true. Now, I can't tell you, I live in California like you do. Yeah. When's the last time I went and got gas for $4.65? Now, a lot of places that's high. California hasn't been that low in 7 years. When's the last time you put $4 anything in your gas tank?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a Tesla for the last 8 years. So
see, I hate when you say stuff like that. I hate when you say stuff like that.
I'm telling you.
That's why I make you buy cigars and shit, because you're not buying. See, fuck Vlad.
I haven't been to a gas station in 8 years.
Vlad is the Elon Musk of.
Trump also said that when they asked if he'll be a dictator, he said he'll be a dictator for a day.
Yeah.
When he gets elected.
I don't think that anything is substantively different than what Hitler was on. I think Hitler lost an election, tried to steal it, almost was jailed, then won. I think that people can decide what it is they want. For me, it's not even hard. But for a lot of people, apparently, they have misgivings. I don't have that. But I think that he's told you exactly what he's going to do. And all these people who are so incensed. Am I mad about what's happening in Palestine and Gaza? Yes. Am I so mad about it that I'm going to vote against the interest of my
People quickly highlighted the stark contrast between Snoop's 2017 comments and his current behavior. One user posted a meme mocking him, suggesting he had sold his soul for a quick check. Others took to Twitter, calling Snoop an industry buster and accusing him of playing both sides, compromising his integrity. Fans weren't just angry about the performance itself, but at what it symbolized: the willingness of celebrities to sacrifice their principles for the sake of power, money, and influence, further fueling the controversy.
Hey now, hey Chicago, how y'all doing? What's happening, California? Now, wait, where those AKAs at? Where they at? You know what? In 3 months, ain't gonna be no living with y'all. I can tell you this, I don't blame Donald Trump for not wanting to debate Kamala. I've been married to a black woman for 40 years and I ain't won one debate. I'm owing $93,000. Now, of course, Trump is saying that Kamala isn't black. I guarantee you this, Kamala's...
It wasn't just fans speaking out. Industry insiders, fellow entertainers, and even former allies began questioning Snoop's motives. For example, Suge Knight, the former CEO of Death Row Records, made headlines by alleging that Snoop Dogg wasn't as loyal to Tupac Shakur as many had believed. Knight suggested that Snoop may have played both sides in the industry, hinting at a potential betrayal of Tupac's legacy and involvement in shady dealings, further deepening the controversy.
Black a lot longer than Trump's been a Republican. And if he keeps sliding in the polls the way he is, the only way he can keep Kamala out of the White House is if he buys it and refuses to rent it to her. Of course, Kamala's getting broad support. They got black men for Kamala, white men for Kamala, Latinos and Asians for Kamala. They even have Republicans for Kamala. Republicans for Kamala. I guess Donald Trump will finally know what it's like when you get...
Snoop Dogg's performance at the Trump event fueled conspiracy theories, with some suggesting he was playing both sides in the entertainment world. The idea that he might be an informant or working with the feds gained traction online, as fans pointed to his growing commercial visibility and partnerships with various companies as evidence of a larger hidden agenda.
For a younger woman. But seriously, Kamala knows the truth about the American dream, that hard work is not enough. Hard work alone is not enough to succeed, that you need access and information and opportunity. And she knows that some folks are often denied those very things. As president, she will give each and every one of us a fair shot in life. But I have to admit, I didn't always believe that. I mean, if you told me the 15-year-old me would be on stage supporting a prosecutor and a teacher, there is no way that I would have believed you. But because of that, I made assumptions about Kamala's record. And I often repeated them to a lot of people. Then one day, Kamala invited me to her house. She put her hand on my shoulder and she asked me to do some research. Something I had never done. Something a lot of people I know had never done before. Imagine attacking someone's character without a single Google search. So I did what I should have done in the first place. I learned that she had done for us exactly what she promised to. I believe that your apology should be as loud as your accusation, and I'm here apologizing in front of the whole damn world. I was wrong, and I'm so very glad I was wrong because, Kamala, you give me hope for the future, a future where my grandchildren, Nola and Stevie, had the freedom to control their own bodies, where they have the opportunity to go as far as their wits and their talents would take them. That future, ladies and gentlemen, is possible, but only if we elect Kamala Harris as the 47th President of the United States of America. I will say this to you. The best piece of advice I've ever gotten in my entire life is you don't have to know what you will do. just know what you want. And we won't go back.
For some, Snoop's performance at the Trump event was viewed as a strategic business move rather than a betrayal of principles. The entertainment industry, particularly in hip-hop, is fiercely competitive and politically charged. Aligning with Bai, a controversial figure like Trump could open doors to new opportunities, including networking, business deals, and endorsements. In the cutthroat world of celebrity, many see every decision through a lens of self-interest, where personal gain often outweighs public perception.
Well, you had called me up maybe about 2 weeks ago, and you were upset over a particular situation.
Right.
You want to talk about it?
Scott Adams?
Well, there's a Scott Adams thing. We could talk about that first.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Scott Adams situation. Because, so Scott Adams did a whole video saying that white people need to get the hell away from black people because they're a hate group. And when he bought a house, he first made sure that it had as few black people as possible in that neighborhood. I know Scott Adams. I'd interviewed him at that house, actually. Cool guy. I'd been a fan of Dilbert forever. And since then, we've sort of kept in contact, you know, and I've had nothing but good experiences with him. So when this happened, I actually called him up. Well, I texted him. I said, hey, like, what you're saying is extremely hurtful to black people. And I'm trying to explain why. And his response was, you're being fucking racist to me. Don't ever call me again.
How can racism is a system, and it's so hard to explain that. I'm so tired of these white victims. I don't know what the male victims. I don't know what the fuck to do. He made this explanation about this phenomenon about black people being racist, where that's the reason he wanted to get away from them.
Despite his controversies, Donald Trump was a powerful figure in the entertainment industry with the ability to bring significant attention to anyone he worked with. For artists looking to expand their brand or reach a broader audience, performing for Trump could be seen as a major opportunity. However, for critics like D.L. Hughley, this move seemed more like a betrayal of the core values cherished by many in the black community, further fueling the debate over loyalty and authenticity in the entertainment world.
Has been happening. White people have never wanted to live around black people, ever. They enshrined it in law. It's enshrined in law. So to pretend like this is a phenomenon that's associated with an action we did, or that it's Brown versus Board, separate but equal, all these things. Jim Crow were all about white people separating themselves from us. And it didn't have anything to do with crime. Before it was black on black crime, what was it? White flight. Compton has an airport. Do you think that was for niggas? It wasn't. White people used to live there. When black people moved in, they left. And that was way before Dilbert. So trying to pretend like it's associated with some action that we've taken or some spike in crime, it's associated with racism. You decided you were too good to live around us, and you moved and took all the resources with you. So don't pretend. Compton has an airport. You think they didn't build that for NWA?
Well, I mean, do you think that if you move into a trailer park, it'll suddenly be very safe and nourishing because you're white? Is that what you think is going to happen?
It's funny because crime is about
It's all white people here. Let's all put the meth away. Stop doing drugs and crime. It's just us whites here.
The funniest shit in the world is that everybody always talks about the criminality of black people. Why they shoot each other. Well, first of all, crime is about proximity. You're more likely to shoot somebody you know than you don't. 80-some% of black people kill black people. Virtually the same percentage kill white people.
Right.
But if you want to keep children...
Hughley's comments about the lack of black faces in the audience were particularly telling. He suggested that Trump's team carefully selected performers who wouldn't intimidate the predominantly white crowd, emphasizing that these performances weren't just about the art, they were about power dynamics and control. In this context, Hughley wasn't just criticizing Snoop for performing at the event. He was shedding light on how the entire system of celebrity and politics is structured to benefit the powerful elite, often at the expense of marginalized groups. What do you think about this issue? Share your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for more content like this.